Welcome to Inside City Hall. I'm your host, Mayor Daryl Seymore, and our guest today is Councilman Brent Hatch and Councilman Mike Allsop. Welcome, Brent.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here.
Good to be
Mike,
here.
glad to have you.
Thank you, Mayor.
You know, one of the things that happens yearly, we go to a resort area where we go to a conference. And a lot of times people wonder, what do we learn from these conferences? They are not inexpensive, but we do send different council people to these, and there's some ideas that we get from it. This last year we went down to Tucson and had a great opportunity. All three of us were there, and we had an opportunity to attend the conference. Brent, why don't you just summarize your overall experience, and then we'll get into a little more details of how that helped you.
Well, I find that the conferences are very educational. It gives us an opportunity, due to the way the conferences are structured, that we can go to concurrent breakout sessions, and we discuss among ourselves which ones of these sessions that we would like to attend, and make sure that we do get a good cross-section of attendance at the programs that are offered. It's really interesting to see the people that have been instrumental in developing these concurrent sessions. For instance, forest health and impact on cities, based on the fire that happened in Flagstaff and what happened in that community. And there was an assessment of the financial impact. There was a financial on the human aspect, the loss of homes and property. And it's interesting to visit with the people that put these things together, and they know them intimately, and they can speak to anything that you want to ask. That's great.
Councilmember Allsop, you carried our flag this year. Kind of share with us your overall and a little bit about what that experience was.
Well, you know, I think this is like the 4th or 5th convention I've been at, and usually the mayor takes the flag and comes down the middle there and presents it, and has a great feeling of sharing the city of Show Low with a lot of people, all the other cities and towns. And so when you asked me to do it this year, I was really proud to do it. It was something different. I mean, it wasn't hard work or anything else, but it was just something that, you know, I felt great to present to the city of Show Low, to the other 90-some cities and towns that were represented there. So it was great. Thank you.
You're welcome. What was your overall take of the conference and some of the feelings of how it was organized and put together?
You know, it seems like the conference is pretty much set up the same way every time we go. They're just different topics that we have to go in and listen to, or we can pick, like Councilman Hatch said. But they're always intermeshed in between the different mayors and council members that present these different topics. It's really neat to listen to what's going on in other cities and towns, and then try to compare them with us. There's always things that we come out with, these seminars and conferences that we can try to implement in Show Low. Some of them are just way big because the towns are like Maricopa or Tucson itself, and it's hard for us to do any of their stuff that they're trying to do. But when there's something that we can present to the city here, and the rest of the council members can look at it, and we can interact and hopefully try to get some of that stuff on here.
You know, with it, there's always challenges for each individual city that we have, but yet it seems like whatever problems we have, either another city has experienced the same problem and corrected it, or they're experiencing the problem. And sometimes it gives us that opportunity to interact with other government officials and ask questions as well. What were some of the workshops that you attended, Mr. Hatch, Councilmember Hatch, and share with us just a little bit of the highlights?
Well, one of them that I attended that was most interesting to me was the emergency preparedness, and the detail that we went to, that the presentation delved into, that showed me that, interestingly, we were pretty well covered through every aspect of that emergency preparedness presentation. You sat on that panel, I believe.
I did.
And it was a very, very nice, very well done presentation. I appreciated that.
Okay. Same question to you, Councilmember Allsop. What were some of the highlights that you attended?
Well, the first one I went to was legislative, and how do you present yourself to the Capitol, and how you can get bills passed and stuff like that. it was really interesting because I was trying to figure out how many bills are really sent through Congress or sent through our state here through the Senate and the House, and then also then passed by the governor. And there was 1,163 bills that was introduced to this last legislature, and out of that, 344 bills were sent to the governor. That's about 30% of the bills, and out of that, 324 of the bills were signed, and 20 of them the governor vetoed. And something I didn't understand or I didn't know is to get some of these bills passed, you have to have a 31-16-1 vote. And so you're trying to figure out, okay, what's 31-16? Well, 31 House has got to vote for it, 16 Senate's got to vote for it, and then the governor has to vote for it before here comes a bill. So out of these 1,163, whatever didn't make it through into a bill, then they're probably going to be coming back next year. Mostly gun rights, legalization of marijuana and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that didn't pass, and so everybody's trying to see those coming back this next year or so.
Do you feel that it makes us better as a community to rub shoulders and kind of understand the process of, by going to these conferences, of what we face up here on a regular basis?
I really think it helps us. You know, the lawmaking body is located in the valley, and we have some unique issues and unique problems up here that we have an opportunity to speak to. I've been impressed with our ability to communicate our needs with regard to our forest health, and how we continue to find money to fight fires that's being taken, the money's being taken away from the reforestation and the forest health. And we've had an opportunity through this venue to talk to the issue with different constituencies from around the state, but also with our senators and governor and representatives. And I think we've made an impression upon them that they need to pay a lot more attention to our needs up here, because we are far from where they are.
I know, sitting on the resolutions committee, I'm able to vote what we put into a resolution that then goes towards trying to make it a bill. And that's an interesting process where we have all of the cities there together to be able to do that. And I've learned that we need to take initiatives of finding issues that we need to have passed locally here. We're working with some of those things locally with our other communities that we partner with here in this area to present those back to the league, and then have the league work for us as a voice. And so it's an interacting. I think you and I have attended a conference, the Verde conference that we went to in February, and then you and I was fortunate to go back to Washington, D.C. last year to a similar conference, but we were able to do things that on a little different scope at each of these conferences, but we are learning from other people in the areas. Mike, why don't you share with us a couple of things that we've implemented that's came from ideas that we've got at some of these past conferences that we have going forward right now?
Well, I know, I believe it was a couple years ago, you and I attended the conference down in Tucson. Either it was Tucson or Phoenix, but we talked about, we went to a class of how to create a web page, and we've always had some people complaining about our web page not being pretty much up to date and hard to use and everything else. And so after sitting in the class and listening to that one, I can't remember what her name was, but listen to what that company could do for us as a city, we said, let's take a look at it. So we created a new web page, and it's been out now for over a year, and they're cleaning up some stuff in it. But I think it's a real simple web page for the city, and it's a lot of pictures in there of a lot of this, what's going on in the city, with all the lakes and golf courses and the statues downtown, and what our downtown city looks like. So that's one that came up that I really recognize. Another one of those little classes I went to this last semester was about schools interacting with cities. And right now we also this kind of piggybacked on stuff that we've already started here in the city of Show Low with having the school board, or the school kids council presidents, vice presidents come and run our city council meeting. This one here was about Surprise Arizona has a man that they've hired to take over with the kids but yet, Surprise is such a big city that they can do those type of things. But they're going to interact with the city and with the schools on having rooms there where maybe a police officer can come in and do his night reports, or they have rooms where if there's a major fire, then the city can have people go in there. And so there's a lot of different things, and youth delegations, and I know that's something that you and I have talked about is trying to work something out with the schools about having a youth delegation to go down and present for the council and for the city of Show Low, having the school kids down there. And there's a lot of classes. There was over 650 kids down there this last year, and so they had a good time and learning different things. So those are a couple of things that I've seen.
Well, it's just the association of being able to pull things together, to work amongst our peers, to have other things. And I think one of the things that's fun is there's always a night we have a time to showcase our city. And we're able to take and we give out some root beer and different things, and we'll work real hard with our other communities here so that we can tell people this is where Show Low's at, that we are part of the state up here, and it's something that other people find out about our community. So we're helping business as well, the two sides of it. But I just want to thank you guys for the time that you do in the council here and put forth the effort to attend these extra conferences, to be able to go to make you better as council people, but to also make our citizens better. And I appreciate you being with us today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Mayor.
Councilmember Hatch.
Thank you, Mayor.
Allsop. Stay tuned for the next segment of Inside City Hall, where we will be talking about the upcoming snow season. Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Our next guest joining us is Rick Austin, the Public Works Operation Manager, and Ryan Hall, the Streets Maintenance Supervisor for the City of Show Low. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you, sir.
Ryan.
Thank you, sir.
Glad to have you guys with us here today. What we're going to talk a little bit about is the great El Nino that's going to hit Show Low hard and heavy, okay? It's been a while since we've had a really good snowstorm, and hopefully this year we'll have that great snow. It's one of the things that we depend on and hope that we have. At the same time, it creates a little bit of a challenge for their citizens. Rick, why don't you share with us kind of the snow plan that we have going forward this year, when we will call out, do our first snow removal, how much snow we have to have, and then Ryan, I'll come to you with a little more of maybe one of our new policies that we have coming up.
The city has established a very well put together snow plan. We have 4 levels of alert. The first being half an inch of snow up to the 2 inches. And that's when we're out looking at streets and doing some minor touch up and making sure that the slick areas are taken care of with either magnesium chloride or cinders, or a combination of the both. Level alert 2 is 3 inches. We start, really start worrying about the snow coming down, and we kind of call out a full array of people, break into 2 shifts. And I skipped a level, but we'll just keep on going. But level alert 2 is when we do our full call out. We call in 2 shifts that work 12 hours a day, and until the streets are opened up and everything for the school buses and transit and all the things that we need to get around and get to Walmart in and so forth. Level alert 3, we just work around the clock until we get the streets widened up. We make sure that the elderly, once the snow is stopped, we open up berms and just make sure that everything can move freely.
Okay.
And level alert 4 is where we pretty much have to start hauling snow off the streets and to a safe place where it don't impede traffic and rescue vehicles.
Okay. Ryan, we have a mailbox policy this year that's changed a little bit from the previous. You want to share with us what that policy is?
Yeah, I'm not sure about all the details on the new policy. I know we cover up to $100
Correct.
worth of damage, and I really haven't looked over the whole policy, Rick, so you may want to.
When we have it, the right-of-way, they have the right to put their mailbox as close as they can, but that right-of-way is also the right-of-way that has to be cleared, and we have to get as close as we can, to clear the road. So if we do damage a mailbox, I believe the policy is that we will spend $100 for replacing that mailbox that was damaged.
Yeah, the proper procedure is to get a hold of City Hall so that one of us can get out there and take a look at the mailbox and see exactly what the damage is. A lot of times a car, would slide into a mailbox, or, there could be a lot of other reasons, a rotten post or whatever like that. Once it's determined that we, as a city, has caused the damage, we'll pay up to $100 as long as, if the citizen wants to replace it himself, he's got to bring receipts in. And then if he wants the city to do it, we'll be more than happy to fix the damage.
Right. And it's just one of those things that when you some people have put some of these mailboxes that can be very expensive. They're very nice looking. They make the community look better, but it's also at a risk. And it comes down to that point where they're really putting it in a right of way and not on their private property. And in that case, there's a limit to what we can do because it is an open area. Now, we have a problem with berms. You guys come out, you snowplow a road, and what happens, can a person request to have their berm? Do they have to have a health condition, or can anybody request a berm removal?
No, you'll have to contact City Hall and get a berm removal permit. And then it has to be signed by a doctor, and then you'll be put on a list, and your berm will be taken care of.
So you have to have some type of physical condition that the doctor will qualify you to have that berm removed.
Sir.
Now, is that berm going to be removed immediately when they snowplow the road, or does it wait until all the other snowplowing's been done?
Until the other snow plowing's been done, and then we'll come back and start removing the berms. That's the next thing on our list. And a lot of people think when they get that done that we can go all the way up to their house. No, we've got to stop at the right of way. We're not allowed on private property for any reason whatsoever.
Okay. What is the policy, Rick, if say, a lot of times you guys are out there plowing and you see a car that's slid off the ditch and they're in a bad situation. What is your policy? Are we able to render aid, or at that point do we call the police department out, or what happens? That's been a question of some things of what we can and can't do.
Well, first and foremost, if we see a car off into a ditch, we're going to call the police department and get somebody on their way. We will stop our plows and go check on the person to make sure that they're safe, right, or what level of emergency it is. So we would never leave anybody, in that kind of a situation without having a first responder on site.
Okay, that's great. Share with us a little bit about then what happens with traffic. A lot of times we go to bed at night, the sky looks pretty good, and we wake up the next morning, we got 6 inches of snow. Tell us what that causes, the problems that it has, and what should citizens be doing to prepare for the winter?
Citizens should have an emergency kit first off and foremost. You never know when the power is going to go down. Make sure you got a flashlight with batteries and so forth. And if you don't have to leave your home, don't leave your home. Stay until we can get the streets open and safe for you to be out there. If you have to go to work, you have to go to work, but try not to drive around when the snow's on the roads.
Where should they park their vehicles at night?
In the driveways.
In the driveways. Okay.
If they park out on the road, we will not plow their street. We'll pass them on by. And I know that's been a big complaint, but we can't afford the liability.
So plowing around a car, so you may upset your entire neighborhood if you left 2 of your cars out on the road at night.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the things that we really caution our citizens is to park those cars in the driveway at night so you guys have free access to going up and down the roads there.
Absolutely.
I think that's well advised, because it slows you down and it's too high a risk, and then you come up and where do you put a berm and where do you move the snow? There's a lot of reasons around that
Sir.
Share with us how many snow plows that we have going out that will be on a full operation. How many plows do we have, and just not plows, but trucks, but we also have some loaders and things too.
Yep, we'll have 26 pieces of equipment out, and we have 4 10-wheelers, 2 6-wheelers, 3 loaders, and 5 pickup trucks will be out.
Wow. So, that's a lot for our city to have that much snow plows on the road making it happen. And I think as we shared a little bit, people have to understand that our cities are working 24 hours. And you guys have got the streets open far before many of the parking lots in town are ever even open. Mm-hmm. So you look out your driveway, you say, hey, the streets are clear, and out you go. Next thing you know, you pull into your favorite shopping center and nobody's even touched that. So now you're in a situation where maybe now you've got to walk through 6 inches of snow or something, and the slip and fall hazard is really great. So your advice to not leave, if you can possibly, stay put, you really need to. That's great advice there. What are some of the other situations you guys have ran into over the years that's a challenge for you out there?
Trash cans are a big challenge.
Okay.
People want to get the trash picked up, but we're coming through plowing, and first thing we know, they're right in the middle of our unplowed road. We got to work around them, and they'll get knocked over. We'll do our best to get back to them, but there's no way we could pick all of them up. It's unfortunate.
Okay.
Yeah, the trash cans like to get left on the sidewalks. There's a lot of snow. They don't like to pull them back, but we clean sidewalks too, so makes it hard when we have to get out and move each trash can just to clean the sidewalks.
The sidewalks are usually cleaned at the end, right?
At the end.
You've done all of the streets, so it may be 2 or 3 days later that you could, clean there.
Depending on the snowfall.
Okay. Is there a phone number? Let's say that I'm in my home and I need oxygen, or I need some type of emergent response. And can we call City Hall? There's still the 911 number, but there's also a number that you could call here at City Hall too.
Yeah, first and foremost, call the emergency response
Right.
numbers 911. You can call City Hall, and the number's 532-4000, of course. And then there's Public Works also between the hours of 7 and 4. And we're there at 532-4100.
4100 there. And where would they get a form if they needed a form for the doctor to get the berm removal?
They can get it online. They're available at City Hall and Public Works.
Okay.
And if you give Public Works a call, I'd be happy to help them out with that.
So they can go directly to the website, the City of Shola website.
Yes, sir.
Or also Public Works, and get that and turn in the doctor. That's fantastic. What do you guys anticipate this year? You've been here. We do have some new snowplow people. We have new 26 pieces of equipment. How are we? And I think you touched a point here that we use some different things that can leave some deposits on your car. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, there are some things that are coercive. That's the wrong word, but they do cause rust to your vehicle. Should you wash your car periodically in the wintertime?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have a approved de-icer area, and that is posted on the website with the snow plan. So if you just go to that, you'll see the areas that we try to mainly stay in with the de-icer product.
What is that website again? It's just
it's the Shola website.
And is there where at on that website?
It's under. It should say snow plan under the Public Works
under
tab.
Public Works, the snow plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. So it's the coercion or the corrosion that I'm trying to come up with that right word there. It is hard. You can look there and it will drip and it will start to eat some of your concrete and some of the things there. So spray those cars periodically, get the underneath carriages washed and keep that happening. How are we for black ice at stoplights? What do you guys do there?
It's the magnesium chloride that we use. Our salt, and it's not the proper term salt, it comes out of Utah, which is a lot less corrosive than what the regular salt is, like some of the other places use. So yeah, wash your car off, take all the precautions, but keep in mind we're using the best interest,
Okay.
especially at the intersections.
And how often do you put cinders down on the intersection? What is the rule? If it's all cleared off, do you still going to cinder, or is there areas, time of the day that you don't cinder?
Anytime we have the plow on the ground, we're throwing cinders at the same
Cinders
time.
as well. Okay. So, it's one of those things that we I know the glass shops, that's causes a little bit more of that pits and things that happen, but it's one of those things that we need. I'd rather have a broken windshield than an accident, a collision, because the driveway was slick or something like that.
Correct.
It's fantastic. Well, thank you today, Rick. I appreciate you being with us. Ryan, thank you. Thanks for joining us on Inside City Hall today. If you have questions you'd like answered here on the show, give us a call at 928-532-4061, and we'll try to answer them for you. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.